So I've been a self-employed full-time musician since 2016, which is almost 10 years ago by now. Let that sink in real quick. But anyways, I went from very small club shows at the start to being booked for big arena shows and festival slots playing for up to 120,000 people relatively quickly in a matter of less than 12 months. And in today's video, I want to share my learnings with you going through this process. And I want to share the key abilities that I've seen that are absolutely necessary if you want to become a professional musician as well. And in show business, of course, luck is always involved. But without the key principles I want to share with you today, none of this would have been possible. And all the successful musicians I personally interacted with so far all share these attributes. Number one, to start with one of the most important ones right away, reliability. I want you to take a close look at yourself, maybe try to step outside your body mentally real quick. Look at yourself and ask yourself, is that person a reliable person? Because in most cases, musicians are not very reliable. And if you're not perfectly in time, in the best case, always early for appointments, and you don't respond to emails quickly, don't show up to rehearsals, to studio appointments, to video shoots, all of that stuff, no one will want to work with you. It doesn't matter how good you are. A lot of great musicians I see are struggling a little bit, often make this mistake, especially when they work with people they consider beneath them, like for smaller recording jobs or session gigs that don't seem that important, but you never know the connections and contacts this person might have and what that could mean for you in the future if you're always on time, easy to work with, and reliable. We need more reliable musicians out there, okay? Number two is the ability to learn new things very quickly. I recently had to learn a very long set, some new stuff by ear while I was on the plane from the United States to Europe to go on a tour. So often with bigger gigs, you don't really have that 6-month time window where people call you and say, well, in 6 months we're gonna go on tour or there's a show. You will need to fill in very, very quickly. You would be surprised by how chaotic even the very, very pro level music world is. Often when you especially work with a very well-established act, they might want to change details last second or play a different song that you didn't learn yet. So you will need a good understanding of at least a bit of music theory on the guitar in order to hear chord progressions quickly and to figure stuff out very quick by ear. So if you never did any ear training, listening to intervals, progressions, cadences and all that, I highly suggest doing this because that all helps with translating what you're hearing to the fretboard very, very quickly. The third thing is actually living up to today's expectations. This is kind of a new problem, so to say. Over the last years, I heard that some online people got booked for gigs and they could not reproduce what they're doing online in a live context, so on stage. That's a newer problem with social media, of course. It's very, very easy to edit stuff. And then when you get the big call and the big chance to audition for a gig, what you're doing in real life doesn't have much to do with how you present yourself online. I heard this story from a band that I worked with where they hired a drummer off of Instagram and their music focuses very heavily on fast double bass and blast beats for a very long duration. And the musician in question just edited the parts together and essentially just always played 4 measures, then hit pause on the camera, the next 4 measures, and it looked like he could play like this for an unlimited amount of time, great stamina, precision and power. And when they invited him to audition, he could not even finish one song, so no chance for him to play the whole set at all, and they had to cancel the whole tour because of that, because once again, music industry is very chaotic. This was a last minute fill-in, and from what I heard, the situation was so traumatic for the player that he quit the instrument after that. As a guitar player, there are some good ways of tackling this in your practice routine. For example, if you practice like this with the strap and you have the guitar at pretty much the exact height that you have it when you're on stage, there won't be as many bad surprises compared to practicing like this and then having the guitar super low on stage. So even if you're just practicing at home and preparing for a gig, put yourself into a very similar situation that you will experience on stage. Work with the same sounds, work with very dim lights because often you won't really see what you're playing. Practice standing up or at least like this with the guitar hanging from your shoulders at the exact same height that you will use on stage, and make sure to deliver the same or at least very close results compared to what people see online. That will really help with doing this professionally and stepping on the big stages as soon as possible. The next thing is professional music education. In my case, I went to the Vienna Music Institute and studied 2 different things, jazz, pop guitar, and also instrumental and vocal pedagogics. It took me around 4.5 years to complete both of these. I was also working a job at the side, it. I passed both of these studies with honors and have 2 diplomas, which is nice. In reality, no one really asks you about your diplomas that much. It's not like you have a traditional job interview when you audition or apply for a job like this, or when you get called and hired on the spot. But I did learn a lot of very crucial skills going through these 4.5 years that I now need every single day, from ear training to transcribing to a lot of theory, reharmonization, all of that fun stuff. But the main issue is that it's quite time intensive. Like 4.5 years is a long time, and it can also be quite expensive. I personally chose a private university because it seemed a good fit, but I was a broke musician, so I had to work part-time to finance my studies at the conservatory. And if you choose a very prestigious conservatory, you might end up paying hundreds of thousands of dollars for your education. So it takes a very long time to graduate. It will possibly cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars, especially if you're from the US. Nobody ever really asks you for a diploma, even in the professional music industry, but you will learn a lot of things that you will need on your way. And I left the conservatory after those 4.5 years as a much better player. But I also kind of realized that this system is a little bit outdated by now. And the most important things that I learned in those 4.5 years could have also been taught in a matter of months, to be honest. So if you're quite serious about that and you're actually interested in getting professional music education without investing years of your life and hundreds of thousands of dollars, literally, I want to do my part when it comes to presenting a much more cost-effective version of all this. It will neither cost you years of your life or thousands of dollars. To help out aspiring pro guitar players, I, for example, founded my own guitar academy on patreon.com/BERNTH. Over there I could help out over 40,000 players with transforming their self-taught bedroom guitar player technique and sound to a professional level in just a matter of months. So if you're a guitar player as well and you want to reach that professional level without actually spending 4.5 years and all that money, it's a no-brainer. Just click the link down below. I will show you everything you would learn at a conservatory much faster and at a much more affordable price. And the last thing I really want to emphasize, and this might be the most important thing, is being a good person and being easy to work with. When you're on tour with a band, you're essentially stuck with those people. You will share the lounge in the tour bus all day, then a small backstage room all day. You're doing sound checks together, you're doing live shows together, of course, you're doing VIP meet and greets and signing sessions together. You will essentially spend almost 24 hours together. And if you're a pain in the ass, you will be eliminated from any kind of touring configuration very quickly. So on tour, you're not always in the best mood. You might be sick, you didn't get any sleep, you might not be happy with yesterday's show. Or let's face it, if you're a guitar player, you might be a little bit of a diva, especially if you're a lead guitar player. We're kind of known for that. So my personal biggest advice that has nothing to do with how you're actually playing is take a step back, look at yourself and ask yourself, are you a pleasant person? Are you easy to work with? Do you offer solutions to problems, or do you only make problems worse sometimes? So if you want to be successful in this industry, please learn to be a team player. You would be surprised how often pleasant people get chosen over much better players, simply because in the end it's kind of more important since you spend all your time with people in the band or in the production. These are only some tips I can share with you that I learned over the last decade of being a professional guitar player. Consider becoming my student today by just clicking the link down below. I would love to welcome you over there. You will get access to all of my premium guitar courses and even some personal mentoring if you're up for it. So I will see you over there. Click the link down below. Greetings from LA in the meantime, and bye bye.